So it was actually after midnight before I got to bed. They picked me up at 9:30 and then the drive back here. So I was a little short on sleep, so instead of getting up super early, I tried to sleep in. I don't do that well. Now I just have to go. Dory's gonna give me a ride back to trail, go to West Union, buy 4 days of food at Walmart, and then I should be good to go. That'll get me through this next section, and as I get closer to Cincinnati, the resupplies are easier. Also, they're so nice. It's been really hard to like hustle myself out the door here. And I am back, and it is bloody hot already. Not the most efficient stop, partially because I got back late and partially because Dory's place is just so nice and peaceful. I don't vortex, but every now and then I am sorely tempted. If I wasn't feeling the overall time pressure, taking a day off and just resting would have been tempting, especially when today is the second day of the heat wave and it improves tomorrow. So I spent the night at their place. They fed me another awesome breakfast this morning. Came out to the West Union Walmart, so I have 4 days of food, which should get me through the last of these more remote sections. And it looks like after that, it's going to be more urban, getting into like Milford and Cincinnati, so I can do slightly shorter carries and supplement more. It is supposed to be back in the high 80s today. Don't know what the humidity is, but it has been shade to shade yesterday. Tomorrow there is a chance of rain, hopefully more clouds. Suck Run here, the eloquent name of this little section, has been nice, but out in the fields and things, there ain't much in the way of protection. So that should be the last I see of Dory, at least till I come back and do the Buckeye or the North Country Trail. Nothing has changed my general thought that I still want to do both of those. And when I do them, I'm not skipping sections just because I went through there on the ADT. That would just feel lame. But for now, hopefully, I should be about a week till I get into Indiana. Haven't looked that much into that section, still just trying to make it through the last out here. I was briefly scrolling through last night before I passed out, and it looked a little more wild, at least initially. It also looked a little more direct, because without all the squiggles, I mean, the people that are skipping the Buckeye and just cutting across on roads, I don't know what their mileage is, but they got to be saving like 200 miles across here. I do have Russellville up ahead, probably towards the end of the day. That was my initial resupply plan before I ran through Jen's resupply a little faster than anticipated. So if I'm lucky, I might be able to get a dinner or something, though honestly, it was so much nicer hiking after 6. I'm kind of reluctant to waste any time in that period. I mean, my pace basically doubled. There is also the Vogel shelter. Technically, that would have been in my normal mileage range. I think it would have been 22 miles or so from where I stopped. So if I'd gotten up early and, gotten to Walmart right when it opened, I could have maybe done that, but I was tired. I wasn't in bed till after midnight. I'd had a good 23-mile day, and the heat took a lot out of me. So I am perfectly fine with stealth camping. You can kind of see sections like this. There's been multiple opportunities where I could quite easily slip off into the woods and find something. Oh, I could have sat there and talked to Dory and her husband all day. Oh well. At least I get to fully experience the heat of the afternoon. I did do laundry. I did do laundry, so I was able to get all the mud and muck of the last couple of days, because it was a dirty couple of days through Shawnee. It does look like I'm mostly going to be road walking for the rest of the state, except for one other little kind of Burr Oak type section where I wiggle through the woods and there's water and campsites and all that. In a lot of ways, though, this state has been both the hardest and the best of the states so far, going westbound on the ADT because it switches. So I get tired of the roads, I get to jump to trail. The bottom of my feet don't hurt too much. And I get to grumble about all the bushwhacking and hills. And then by the time I'm sick of that, it switches back to roads and I can stretch my legs. That's interesting. I just saw the first dead cicada. I hear they are kind of deafening further west, but at least so far, I haven't noticed them near to the levels of the whole Brood X things in 21. I had to switch my snacks around. It's like the trail mix that I've been liking in this heat just turns into a giant clump. I had these really yummy cookies yesterday, but there was no discernible cookies. There was just a baseball of chocolate cookie material. And similar to yesterday, lots of fluffy clouds. Why will the fluffy clouds not come over here? Why is it always the dogs that want to come play? Never the kitties. I think the heat usually cuts down on dog aggression because it's just too hot to get too excited. He charged and then calmed down immediately. Okay, now clouds like this I can work with. Well, I did say I was hoping for storms in the afternoon. Just to make it a little more survivable. Baby season. Unfortunately, all the fun weather is over there, so it's still really hot. Okay, I might have had a few too many Pepsis, but they were ice cold and so damn delicious in the state I was in. So 6 o'clock, time to see how far I can get. There is a shelter. It's another 10 or 11 miles. I'm just gonna see. I have not been moving at my fastest as it got hot, so normally I would count on that taking 3 hours and change. But we'll see. This is kind of a windy road route through here. Those guys at the bar were really nice. And the food was good. And admittedly, I was probably in slightly rough shape when I walked in there, but they kept giving me drinks. Asked if I was doing the AT, because it's always the AT for some reason, even when you're in like southern Alabama. So I now have a commemorative drink koozie from Lisa's. Per the weather report on the TV there at the bar, it does look like there is going to be some unsettled rough weather tomorrow, but I think it's all further west and south than me, so I think I'm going to be okay. But sunshine to tornadoes. That bar did have absolutely glorious AC going on. I had to force myself back out the door. So I just really haven't been feeling it. I didn't perk up after that town stop, so I'm not going to even try and make it to that shelter. There's no point in pushing that long after dark. I'm going to go for another hour or so and then hope there's something like this with some woods. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the last words I'm ever going to hear is "Don't worry, he's friendly." And welcome to Matt going outside of his comfort zone. Not going out and doing mountains, weather, long hikes, anything like that. Just trying to engage more with people and experiencing what's out here along the way. So I talked to Dory and she had mentioned, oh, there's the shelter. And it was a 22-mile haul, so starting late, it was Probably not going to happen, but I'd sent a note. There was something about, oh yeah, contact the guy who owns the shelter land. Well, he showed up just about 7:40 or so. Don't mind me, I was just chugging water. He showed up to just look for me, offered me a ride here, said he'd take me back to where I was in the morning, and I figured, well, you know, might as well. One of those unique stays. So he's got a bunch of land, and this is all soybeans. And there's a shelter here, and even better, there is a privy back here, which is always a treat. So I'm normally against this. I don't like being picked up, and well, it's not that I don't like it. It's just I prefer to kind of camp along the way. I'd rather walk into a hotel than take somebody up on getting plucked off like last night, but sometimes it's just makes more sense. So I only made 15 miles today, which is pathetic, but it was a resupply day. I didn't even get dropped off until noon, and yeah, the heat was just not getting along with me. But that's okay. Tomorrow it's a whole different game, because tomorrow the storms hit. So we'll see how that goes. That is not a bad privy. Evenings like this are ones where I can't wait for Jen to be with me. But hey, home sweet home. And we'll see what tomorrow brings. So Mike is gonna pick me up at 8:30, give me a ride back where he dropped me off. He offered to let me leave my pack here and pick it up on the way through, but me and slack backing. Oh, an interesting thing, apparently Skirka stayed here like years and years ago. He's one of the few people like outdoors where I'm like, okay, yeah, he's legit. And I just about got eaten alive by mosquitoes while I was sitting out there. So in the tent, it is warm. I am somewhat missing the air conditioning, but hey, it's not like it's going to get hotter for the remainder of this trip, right? Right?